Hi, you're watching the Marvel Movie Critic, and today I'm reviewing X-Men Days of Future Past. Hi, this is the Marvel Movie Critic, the only critic with a bachelor's degree in film and a doctorate in Marvel Comics. In this show, I always give suggested comic reading recommendations and history that fit with the movie I'm reviewing. Let's jump right into the review with the top 3 best things about X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 3. The number 3 best thing about this movie is the fun new characters. One of the best things about the X-Men movies is you have the ability to pick out the mutants with the most fun and exciting powers and put them into your movie. Quicksilver comes to mind as a standout character. Seeing him break Magneto out of prison by vibrating the glass, then run him past the guards was one of the highlights of the movie. And his next scene where he moves bullets through space to save the X-Men is also a great scene to look at. Inspiring characters like this is why we show up to superhero movies in the first place. Blink was great. We get to see her opening portals while destroying Sentinels. And Bolivar Trask was an excellent villain. He had some of the best dialogue in the movie. And coming from actor Peter Dinklage, it sounds that much more important. I loved the scene where they asked him if he hated mutants, and he said that on the contrary, he finds them quite fascinating. That mutants signify the extinction of humans. And that really set the tone for his motivation as a villain here. So all these extra characters are a big part of what makes this movie fun to watch. Number 2. The number 2 best thing in this movie is they finally got the struggle against humanity right. Now I say finally because in past X-Men films, even though they were premised on the fight between mutants and humans, there was always something that didn't work. In the first X-Men movie, Magneto said he hated humans, so he devised a plan to turn everybody into mutants, so they can see how it feels to be mutants. Wouldn't he rather kill the humans? So why would he let them join the exclusive mutant club? Aren't mutants better than humans in his mind? The motivation at the end of that movie never made sense or worked. Even in X-Men First Class. Again, he hates humans because his mother was killed when he was a child, but the person who killed his mother was a mutant. Sebastian Shaw, a mutant, killed his mother while he was in a concentration camp during World War II. Even then, wouldn't he hate Nazis for their religious persecutions? It still didn't work so well. Now in this movie, X-Men Days of Future Past, they finally establish a storyline that makes sense. The humans are set on a path to exterminate all mutants using Sentinel robots. And they succeed in doing so well into the future. So it's the mutants' job to stop this from happening. By simplifying this main storyline, it feels like the X-Men movies really work and they're finally getting it right. Now that doesn't mean they have to keep doing this storyline in the future, but it's nice to see it well done here. Yet despite getting this one massive and important storyline right, there is still one moment that is even better. Number 1. And the number 1 best thing about this movie is Professor Xavier's hope-filled speech. There is a scene where the young Professor X meets the older Professor X. And the younger Professor X feels like he can't live up to the expectations that everyone has of him. That he has to save and inspire the mutant race. That he has to convince the humans not to hate and fear the mutants. That he has to bring peace and equality to mutant and humankind. And the young Professor X says he doesn't want to experience that kind of suffering. Yet the older Professor X tells him that we need you to hope again. He's essentially telling him that life is beautiful and worth aspiring for. And in these moments, Professor X inspires his younger self. And he inspires the audience. And that moment is what makes this movie great. It's moments and inspiration like this that keep fans coming to see Marvel superhero movies again and again. Because they represent the best and most inspiring moments in life in extraordinary ways. And now for the top 3 nitpicks in this movie. Number 3. The thing about nitpicks, they don't actually affect the story. If they don't affect the story, they don't actually make the movie bad. Sometimes they have very little or nothing to do with the movie at all. So the number 3 nitpick in this movie is the stuff that doesn't make sense. How does Kitty Pryde have the power to send Wolverine back in time and alter reality? Why can Beast turn back to human form? Isn't it more tragic if he's always blue and has to accept it? How does Wolverine get his adamantium claws back in the beginning when he lost them at the end of the Wolverine movie? And the biggest one, why is Professor X alive when they killed him off at the end of X-Men The Last Stand? They never explained it. His body was destroyed by the Phoenix, though in the end it's hinted that he's able to project his mind into other bodies in the after credits scene in The Last Stand. But that still wouldn't explain how he got his body back. By having him back alive in this movie, it does make the movie much better. Patrick Stewart is responsible for the #1 best shining moment in this movie. But 20th Century Fox should be held responsible for having killed him off in the previous movies, which felt more like a shock value move than a story-motivated move. Don't kill off characters when they're actually your most interesting characters in the entire movie franchise. They always have future potential to be written well by future writers. That said, these problems don't actually affect the story in this movie, and some of them are problems from other movies. Number 2. The number 2 nitpick is, the Sentinels had little screen time. I would have liked to have seen more battle scenes with the Sentinels. I was looking forward to Wolverine destroying a Sentinel, or the X-Men as a team rallying around and destroying a Sentinel, but that didn't happen. But that's a nitpick because the story had less to do with the Sentinels and more to do with the creation of the Sentinels and how it would affect the lives of the mutants. Number 1. And the number 1 nitpick is the 1970s timeline. By placing these movies in real timelines, you have to always fight the battle to fit your movies into real time. You've got James McAvoy, who does an excellent job as Xavier, and you've taken him from the 60s to the 70s, already aging him 10 years. You've got Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and others in the present. So how do you go forward with these movies? Do you combine the cast of characters? Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen may not want to be in these movies forever. Then you have the next movie with Apocalypse, who we saw in the end credits. Which Xavier will he face? It's a bit of a jumbled mess. If they had simply put them in a non-specified time period, then you wouldn't have the problems of the age of the characters. The X-Men comics and stories are not real, so you don't have to put them into real time. Doing so was a mistake. And keeping them in a non-specific time period would have been the best way to continue to make these movies work. That said, it is a nitpick that does not actually affect the story here. There's actually nothing bad or wrong with the story here as it is. It works really well and is one of the best X-Men movies to date. And now for the rating. This movie gets a 5 out of 5. The Professor X hope-filled speech alone is enough to push this movie into greatness. And they got so much right with this movie that a perfect rating is well deserved. And it's truly a triumph, because you can't give a perfect 5 rating to most of the past X-Men movies. And now it's time for your recommended comic reading. I would recommend reading Uncanny X-Men number 14. This issue is where you get the first appearance of the Sentinels. This is really where Days of Future Past starts. The Sentinels are an ongoing problem for the mutants and represent the fear that the humans have of mutants. And it's great to go back and see the first designs of the Sentinels in this book. You also see Bolivar Trask, who was the villain in the movie. This book is written by Stan Lee and drawn by Jack Kirby. I'd also recommend Uncanny X-Men numbers 141 through 142. This is the Days of Future Past storyline. Just like in the movie, you get to see them send a mutant back in time. In this one, it's an older Kitty Pryde who goes back to stop Mystique and her mutant team from assassinating a US senator that hates mutants, and in doing so helps save the future from becoming a world where the mutants are hunted and destroyed. It's by Claremont and Byrne. If you want something more recent, I'd recommend Ultimate X-Men. It's a book that starts you at the beginning and is new reader friendly. It's easy to understand while also being really well written, and you get to see the Sentinels and all your favorite X-Men. Start at the beginning and you can always branch out to more X-Men comics. The cheapest and best way to read these is on Marvel Unlimited through marvel.com using your tablet or computer. The entire run is on there. If you want the books in paper, you can find them in any bookstore. Now check out the X-Men shirt. Marvel question of the day. What has been your favorite X-Men movie so far? Is it the new one? Is it X-Men 1 or 2? How would you rank the movies? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and make sure to rank them in order. Remember to follow me on Facebook, where I will be constantly posting Marvel news and sharing my thoughts on the comics and other things. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends wherever you can. Put it on message boards, Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere else. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so I can keep making Marvel videos for you. I plan to review all the great Marvel movies. That's all for now, and I will see you next time, true believers. Excelsior!